And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, I'm Darren, and welcome to 8th Day Chronicles here at Cross Timbers Farm. Glad to have you with us on this day of bad news. It's relative, I guess. We're trying to avert disaster. As you can see, we have hay down. And this has been a tough week as far as haying goes. Have you ever made plans and felt a little bit later like you'd just like to kick some weatherman right in the seat of the pants with your work boots on? But we restrain ourselves and have a Christian outlook. But the forecast has changed so dramatically. When we cut this hay on Tuesday, the forecast gave a chance of some rain Thursday evening, like a 40% chance. And then it was clear until Sunday with a slight chance of rain, about the same, 30% on Sunday. And that was going to give us the window we needed. It wasn't even supposed to rain till late Monday evening or overnight Monday night when we looked at it. So if we needed to wait till Monday, we were good because the forecast was saying rain Monday night. You know, up after dark, midnight, on through the night. Rain really heavy Tuesday. Okay, so we cut. We took our chances, we cut. And it rained on the hay Thursday evening, a half an inch. Come an absolute downpour for about 15-20 minutes. Actually hailed for about 5 or 10 minutes. But we've tedded the hay and stayed on top of it since Thursday. Starting Friday morning, we started tedding it. We tedded it out Friday morning, Friday evening, and I've tedded it this morning. Probably going to ted it again in just a few minutes to get it dried back out. It was well on its way. Okay, the forecast, the days that we have had that it has not rained, we have maybe had 1.5 days of good sun. The rest of the days have been cloudy, overcast, and our forecast has changed so dramatically. Now the weather forecast says, this is Saturday, the rain forecast says 70% chance of rain tomorrow with up to 1 inch of rain on Sunday, and Monday 100% chance of heavy rain up to 2 inches. And we got hay down. It's well on its way to drying, to reaching an appropriate moisture content. It's not quite there yet. And we're to a point with the weather where we either just leave it on the field and what it's dried to up to this point, just forgo it. It's because it's going to be ruined. I don't think even a tedder's going to pull it out of what's coming, because even after the rain, it's supposed to stay cloudy and dreary and drizzly for days afterwards. That hay will mold underneath. Or it's as dry today as it's ever gonna be, and we take our chances and just bale it today, because today is it. It's either bale it today or just rake it off into the woods, rake it up into the trailer and rake it into a pile and take the hay fork and put it into a trailer and don't even bale it and haul it off down into the wooded area and just dump it. Because it would need to get off the field because it would smother the grass that's growing on top of it right now. We would need to get it up. And I have tried in the past. Years ago, we had a disaster with rain and our hay got moldy, and the forecast changed then and it just set into raining for days. unexpectedly. And we tried hooking our bush hog to the tractor and just bush hogging this downed hay and chopping it up really fine. We just ran over it and over it and over it. And what that led to was later in the year when we baled hay, all that organic material was all over that field. And boy, when we went to tedding and raking and baling, that dusty material that was on that field just went everywhere. It was all up in the hay. It made our hay quality go from really good to almost poor. So if I ever do that again and I take a bush hog and I just mulch it up and leave it on the field just for organic material, which is actually sometimes good for the soil if you're not going to be baling hay on it the rest of the year. If I have to do that again, then that field's done for the year, because it has to have time to decay and work its way into the soil. If you chop it up and then go back over it a month and a half later, raking and tedding and stuff, that organic material has not had time to get into that soil and start decaying and doing its thing into the soil. And you go behind it a month and a half, 2 months later, and you're raking and baling, it doesn't no good. You're raking it right back out, that tedder's kicking it right back all over the place, and you might as well just raked it off the field. You wasted your time and fuel, basically. Now, this is opinion. In my opinion, you wasted your fuel and your time running that bush hog trying to chop that stuff up into organic material and just leave it. So, to me, this is the beginning of hay season. Now, if this was fall of the year, it's our last cut, and it rained on it, then I would have no problem chopping it up and leaving it for the winter, because we would not be cutting hay back on this field and having implements on it until the following late spring, early summer. And it would have all winter with snow and rain and everything on it. But this is the first cut of the year. That's not an option. So it's one of those things, danged if you do, danged if you don't. So the way I'm looking at it, we have no option. Let's just bale this today. We're gonna have to, or because the clock's ticking, the deadline's tonight. Bale it, keep a close eye on the moisture content, and if it gets hot and the moisture content is just too high, we'll start tearing some of the bales apart later in the week and looking at them. And if it's starting to get moldy or something like that, we'll just load them in the trailer and take them down into the wooded area and dispose of them. Save some for chicken nest boxes, spread some out in our chicken runs, whatever we have to do with it. But at least it'll be off the field. And maybe there's a chance that some of it might be good hay and not be too moist, the moisture content, and not heat up and things of that nature. If it does test high moisture, which I think it's probably going to, we'll keep a really close eye on it. We're not going to put it in our barn, because barn fires, spontaneous combustion, heat building up in those bales is dangerous. Even in small bales, small squares, small rounds, they're not as dangerous as a big round or a big square. The danger level is lower of them heating up and catching on fire, but it can and will happen occasionally. So we're going to be real careful with it. We got no choice. The forecast has changed. Blame it on me. It's my fault. Maybe I was a little too gung-ho to cut, but our forecast only had one day of some evening showers, and those chances were only about 40% when we cut it. Now the rain chances are through the roof. It's going to rain tomorrow and Sunday and Monday. It's going to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The weather people are confident. They're saying like 75% tomorrow and like 100% Monday. So and days of rain after that. It's supposed to be a really wet week coming up. Good for our hay growth, but not good when we got hay down. So I've tedded it once this morning. I'm gonna ted it again in a few minutes, just to keep it stirred, because we do have a little bit of breeze. Hardly no sun today. It's very overcast, but we have a breeze. I'm gonna kick it. If some of it blows off down the hill in this breeze, so be it. I'm gonna kick it again in a few minutes, and then we're gonna get the rake hooked up. We're gonna get it raked into windrows and get the baler ready to go, and we're gonna try to get this baled this evening. I don't think we have a choice. Raking's done. We're ready to start baling. Clouding up. Me and Susan was just talking about it. It looks like it's gonna rain probably in the next couple of hours. And I just looked at the radar and there's rain heading right toward us. This hay's as dry as it's ever gonna be. And I'm taking a guess. We're gonna bale one bale and stop and check the moisture content with our AgriTronics hay meter and see what the moisture content is. I'm betting, I've been wrong before, but I'm betting it's gonna be high. I would say this hay needs at least one more full day of sun, but we've had no sun all day today, none. It's been overcast, and it's to the point that this hay's as dry as it's ever gonna be, because it's gonna pour the rain tonight and tomorrow and Monday, and it is what it is. So it's as dry as it's ever gonna be. So we're gonna go ahead and bale it, and if it tests high, which I think it's going to, we'll store it outside and we'll just use it for chicken nest boxes, for hay in those nest boxes. We'll spread it in the chicken runs. We'll do whatever with it, but it won't be for sale. If it tests high, it's not leaving here, and we'll do something with it, but it'll at least be off of our test plot and out of the field, so it ain't smothering out grasses for second growth or second cut. So we got our little baler hooked up, the Farm Maxx / Redlands FMRB 330 2x2 small round baler. We are using Tytan, Tytan 16,000 green baling twine. That's my go-to baling twine for this baler. This twine runs through it fantastic, and it is natural biodegradable material. I really like this baling twine. We've got it threaded. We've pre-oiled all of our chain drives and sprockets and all that good stuff. Everything's been checked, wire and harness hooked up. We're ready to start baling. So we're going to bale one bale and stop and check the moisture content. We're probably stopping a lot and checking different moisture contents, because I got a feeling these are going to be high. All right, let's get the Kubota fired up and start baling hay. Okay, our first bale is made, and I have our AgriTronics HT Pro moisture meter. How high will she go? Holy cow. It's upside down, but you can see it's 14.3 right there. Okay, let's keep testing it because I just don't think. Okay, there she goes. 22.9. I was figuring 40. 22.7. And if there's anyone out there from AgriTronics or anybody that's used one of these things for years and years, if you read on the owner's manual, it says these things are calibrated to check moisture in alfalfa, okay, which is a legume. It's more steamy and all that with the, you know what alfalfa looks like. They say if you're testing grass hay, pure grass hay, to reduce, if it says, if you stick it in your bale and it reads 15, to take 3 points off that for grass hay. So if you test your bale with a probe and it reads 15, then it would actually be 12 for grass hay. But then I've heard contradicting stories on the internet about, you know, hay forums and things that no, it'll read grass the same as alfalfa. If anybody can give me any advice on that, I would love to hear it. .1. This is better than I thought. I was honestly expecting 40, you know, high 30s to 40. I mean, there's still some really good areas in it. Then there's some that don't look that good. 13.8. 23.3. All right, we'll keep baling. There's bale number 1. We're going to check just about all of them because I don't know if you can see on the camera the color on the side. Look, you can still see some green, or a lot of green, and that makes me really, really nervous. But what do you do? All right, I'm gonna keep baling. I don't know what that's to do. It's gonna pour the rain. It's already, me and Susan was just a moment ago talking about the moisture in the air right now. It already feels like it's getting ready to rain, even though it's not supposed to for a couple of hours. It's just got a feel of rain in the air, and you look at the sky, it's coming. So there's still high moisture for my liking, but not as bad as I thought. 18.7. All right, I'm actually surprised. All right, we're gonna keep baling. got it out of your baler. In my opinion, one of the worst things you can do is leave a bale like that in your bale chamber for months, especially over winter. That'd be even worse. Get it out of your bale chamber. And I'm proud to say that the little fix I done for this back cover with the zip ties, you may remember last fall we done a video, if you haven't saw it, on cleaning out from behind this back cover, the bale door cover. It's a headache to clean it because of those tabs that's under there. If you haven't saw that video and you own a baler like this, it may be of interest to you. Cleaning this back cover out's a pain in the rear because of those tabs. And you can see I've got 4 zip ties holding this back cover on. Now all I got to do to clean this cover is snip those 4 zip ties off with a pair of side cutters, 3 bolts and across the top. All right, and a few bolts here. You don't have to mess with those tabs anymore. All right, we're done. Let's get out here and let's get this baler blew off real good. Get all the dust off of it, and then we'll go around with the ATV and the trailer and collect bales. There's more hay here than I thought there were. I ain't even counted the bales, but again, it's 3/10 of an acre, so very high quality hay, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked at the moisture content. I really am. Okay, we're done baling the test plot. It's small acreage, about 3/10 of an acre. And our extension that we done on it last year that goes over the hill, it's still not growing like it should. And we're going to have to do a few more amendments down there or something. That's a hard place to bale right down in there because there is a telephone pole right down in the middle of that with some guy wires coming off of it, and you can't hardly rake it. You can't get turned because it's on a steep hill. And then the telephone pole and the guy wires are right in the way. I noticed that last year, and it's again this year. It was a pain working around that light pole or the power company pole, and the guy wires, the metal cables coming off of it. I don't know. I'm going to do some thinking, and we may just, we're not getting much hay off that extension down there anyway. A couple of bales. I may just let that go next year. I don't know. You can't get any windrows raked in it. Susan went down actually with a hay rake, hand rake, and raked it into windrows and carried it out, because you just with the inline rake on that tractor, you can literally make a windrow about maybe 10 yards, 5 yards, and you have to stop because the pole and the guy wires are right in your way. But the hay looks good. The stem to leaf ratio in this hay is really good for first cut. It's got stems, it's got several stems, but the leaf ratio to that stem's cutting this in that middle of the road in the growth stage. That's why I wanted to cut this so bad, even though the forecast was a gamble. and I knew that going in, but it's baled. And earlier today, I would have bet that the moisture content in the bales would have been in the 30s, high 30s, maybe even 40. They're not. And depending on if this thing is calibrated 3 points high for alfalfa versus grass hay, then that would put us right in the high teens, which is good. We're gonna keep an eye on it. We're gonna be putting it in our storage shed here, our hay sheds, one of them. I pulled one up from the bottom, and they're gonna be on pallets in there. We're gonna test the moisture on all these. We've tested several of them, but I'm gonna test every single one of them as I'm putting them in the shed. All right, baling is done. We've put the hay in the storage sheds. Checked every single bale going in. We got 10 bales total off of this I don't know if it's full 3/10, maybe 2 3/4, something like that, tenths of an acre. We got 10 bales. And that, if you figure the acreage, that produced good. We were happy with that because it's not been fertilized or anything. We will be fertilizing here probably as soon as we finish our cut on our main hay field, which could be 3 weeks or so. So it's a good day. We beat the rain. Just a few minutes ago, I backed the Kubota into the barn, and Susan yelled, "It's raining." And sure enough, when I cut the tractor off, I could hear raindrops hitting that tin roof on the barn. It's quit now. It done that for about 10 seconds and quit. But it's coming. It's coming. The skies are gray and dark. We tested all the moisture in those 10 bales. The highest reading that we got was 25. The lowest was 12. So, but an average, Susan was with me when I checked them all, and an average moisture content of those 10 bales was about 18%. I was shocked. I really thought that the moisture content was going to be in the 30s, 40s. Really surprised. So we've got it put in a shed and left plenty of space around all those bales, and I'll check them daily to see if they're heating up any. But I was pleasantly surprised how much this hay had dried down, to my surprise. It's gonna make some decent hay, I think, for especially for first cut. It was good looking hay. The leaf to stem ratio was really good, and Susan even commented it's pretty good looking hay. It was good hay. So we'll see how it goes with if it heats up or anything like that. It's obviously not gonna get any wetter, because we do have it stored on pallets in a dry place. So it's getting dark. The day's done. Our hay on the first cut of 2025 is in the barn. The little Farm Maxx round baler ran like a top. That's a fantastic little baler. And I'm pleasantly surprised how well our little zip tie fix on the back of that skin on the back of the door seems to have worked. It didn't rattle, it didn't do anything. I believe it worked well. Sometimes a redneck shade tree fix is the best thing. So it'll make it a lot easier to take that cover off to clean it. So thanks for being with us. We're gonna go into the house and find us some supper and rest for the rest of the evening. Next thing up will be cutting our main hay field and our west field. Probably in 2 to 3 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood. We're just gonna keep a really close eye on it and judge when to cut it. We got tons of rain coming tonight and tomorrow. They're saying up to 2 inches tomorrow, 1 inch tonight, and an inch tomorrow night. So we're fixing to get a lot of rain. And as a reminder, 2025 hay season is underway. If you are out running hay equipment, please be safe. Use every safety measure that your tractor has in a ROPS or a roll bar is what I call them. Seat belt, guards on your PTO shafts, Don't bale hay on somewhere that is too steep or you're unsure of. There's no bale of hay worth your life. Know your fields. Be in an unfamiliar field driving along, have one of your tires drop off in a ditch line or a sinkhole or something and roll you. Be safe, and have an enjoyable, prosperous hay season. All right, thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it for our first cut of 2025. Thank you so much, and I pray God blesses you and your family, and I pray y'all have a fantastic day.